Attention Yankees fans, do you have at least one functioning arm? Do you have a heartbeat? Then great news! You could be the next member of the New York Yankees rotation. Come on down to 161st and River Avenue to try on your pinstripes today. Hey everybody, thanks for joining. Welcome back to NYY Recaps. I've got a very special interview today where we're going to talk about Clarke Schmidt. We're going to talk about Deivi Garcia. We're going to talk about pitching mechanics and how to generate more velocity. So look forward to that in just a few minutes. But first, I wanted to thank everybody because on my end, it's not showing publicly on YouTube at this very moment, but it might be by the time you see this video. I've just crossed the 2,000 subscriber mark. That's huge for me. That is just tremendous. I know it's small compared to some of the bigger Yankees channels, but we've only had a basically month and a half of the season to do this, plus this entire lockdown, shutdown, quarantine period. To go from 0 to 2,000 in just a few months has been tremendous for me, and it's just blown my mind how quick people have taken to this channel. So my goal is next year to be one of the top Yankees channels on the internet in terms of size, subscribers. I would love to get to 30 to 50,000 by next season. So only way to do it is to work my ass off and for you guys to spread the word. So thank you for everybody who joins. So like I mentioned, today I want to talk about Clarke Schmidt. And I have a friend named Tom Askew, and he is kind of my go-to guy when I want to talk pitching because he understands the mechanics of pitching. He's pitched in college. And so this is the interview. We wanted to talk about Clarke Schmidt's debut, a little bit about Deivi Garcia. Enjoy. All right, so joining me on the podcast today is my buddy, a pitching legend in the North Carolina Men's Senior Baseball League, Tom Askew, formerly of Wingate University. Tom has had some impressive numbers over the years, and he's my go-to guy when I want to talk pitching because he understands pitching. So the first thing I want to talk about is, what did you see from Clarke Schmidt last night? You texted me that you thought he was overthrowing, and I wanted to see what you thought about that.
Yeah, so last night was Clarke Schmidt's Major League debut, and honestly, it couldn't come against a better team, the Orioles. But I just kind of felt like his maybe the nerves of making a Major League debut and being amped up for that may have affected his pitching mechanics a little bit. Just kind of looked like that Clarke didn't have much command of the fastball, and the was throwing some frisbee and cement mixer sliders up there. So just didn't have his best stuff, I'll say it.
Yeah, I thought that he definitely was opening his front side a bit too early. It's something I saw in spring training. I've pointed out on the podcast before. He's a guy who I think needs to compact his delivery a bit because when he strides, he opens that front hip and that drops the arm out of the slot that I think he wants to be in, causes him to miss up and to the arm side. We saw it with the fastball. We saw it with the slider. The slider was just, or I guess it's a curveball, just kind of hanging in there at the top of the zone. Somebody almost hit it out of the park.
Yeah, last out of the game, almost went out of the yard. And if it's another team, it probably is out of the yard. But I'm willing to bet that along with what you said, if we can get like a side view of Clarke Schmidt, throwing this breaking ball, I'm willing to bet that because he's opening up that front side, dropping the elbow a little bit, he's probably also releasing the ball not at his head or just past it, but probably a little bit further. So this is when the ball is starting, your hand is starting to slow down, and therefore you're getting a less spin rate too, which just gonna be spinning up there, saying hit me.
So I thought that Clarke Schmidt's fastball looked good. He was 96 at times. He had good movement, but it was just the command. It was just, I think all his problems are going to go away once he fixes his mechanics because they're a little bit messy right now.
Yeah, missing spots. He got unlucky with some bats hitting some balls in the fifth inning. But I felt like his command of his pitches were better in the fifth, even though his results were drastically different. Having command of the fastball as a pitcher is one of the things that is going to help you develop your confidence up there. And if you don't know where the ball's going to go, it's going to be hard to pitch.
Right. And I think like for a major league debut, you enter, you've got all this extra adrenaline. You're trying to show off. You're trying to light up the radar gun. He was just, he got away from, how he would probably usually pitch, if he was starting a game, if he was comfortable, he had his mechanics worked out. But I really hope that he can, tweak whatever he needs to tweak to start throwing over that front side instead of opening that front side, which will ultimately drop his arm down. Now, he had Tommy John surgery 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. You had Tommy John surgery almost a decade ago. What was it like?
Yeah, long time.
What was it like 2 years later? Who did the surgery? What was that like?
So I was fortunate. Dr. James Andrews, one of the best in the business, repaired my elbow. So as far as tearing it again, it's very unlikely. When they repair it, they repair it to the strength of, better than what you previously had, because they're taking tendons out and tying more in there. So it's definitely durable, but it's not the surgery that makes you throw harder when you come back from it. It's all the rehab. The rehab is intense, and there's nothing that you can do for an elbow. It's all for the shoulder. So Clarke Schmidt's shoulder, his right shoulder, is probably more jacked than his left. Right. But as far as his durability, as long as he takes care of his body, his career will continue.
So Deivi Garcia had 6 shutout innings in his first outing. Didn't pitch quite as good last night. His stuff has been good. His velocity has been down. That's concerned me a little bit, but his command has been better. You want to talk about a little bit of what you've seen from Deivi Garcia?
So with Deivi Garcia, it's slightly opposite of what we've seen with Clarke Schmidt. His velocity is down, but his breaking ball is still deadly. I think that from a pitching mechanic standpoint, Garcia's arm is probably just dragging a little bit. And that could also be from, some MLB debut pitching nerves. Of course, his debut's out of the way now. So I imagine that we're going to see his velocity go back up to 96, 98 miles an hour.
He actually touched 95 more last night than he did in his first outing. So maybe loosening up a bit.
Yeah, so it's coming back.
So the Yankees pitching coach is a guy named Matt Blake. He's basically a pitch design guy. He's from Driveline Baseball. You're familiar with Driveline?
Yep, very familiar with Driveline.
So Driveline, they focus on pitch design and spin rates and things like that. But Matt Blake has never pitched at a high level. He's never been in a big league game. He doesn't know what the adrenaline is like to make a big league debut. Do you think would you rather have, as a pitcher, somebody who's been there and done it as your pitching coach and can maybe give you a tip about what it's like to be on a big league mound dealing with adrenaline, rather than somebody who's going to throw spin rate and mechanics at you during that situation?
Well, here's my thought on it. Matt Blake, Driveline, this is a great guy that I would want when I'm, tweaking my mechanics when I'm in the bullpen. But, when I'm out there, in the middle of an inning, trying to get guys out and, dealing with the situation, I want a veteran in there who's going to calm me down, who knows what I'm going through, and help me get through these next couple of batters.
Yeah, I've always been a proponent of David Cohn as a pitching coach because he understands pitching, but he also understands, the emotions, the moment, the intangibles that come with being on a big league mound and staring down a guy who can jack it out of the park, and I feel like Matt Blake, I feel like he's a dork. I feel like if I bet Matt Blake is awesome at like side sessions, and he's fun to go to the movies with, and he's just a really nice guy, but he's not going to tell me jack about what it's like to stare down a big league hitter because he's never done it.
Right. I mean, I think, nerves play a big part in all aspects of baseball, the hitting and the pitching. And if you feel intimidated by the hitter or the moment, doesn't matter what kind of analytics you can throw at me or, some kind of mechanical tweak, it's just not going to be enough.
Right. Tom, thanks for joining. Hopefully we can do this again. This was our second attempt at this. The first one didn't have video, so hopefully this one does. If not, you're hearing the audio version, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, guys, help support the podcast by buying swag from my store. Link is in the description.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It helps YouTube suggest this channel to other Yankees fans.